The 1975 World Recession, a historical and economic forecasting perspective. The 1975 World Recession stands as a profound chapter in 20th century economic history. Economists today study its wide-reaching impacts to provide insights for forecasting future economic challenges. The recession was propelled by intersecting factors: an oil crisis, soaring inflation, and constricted monetary policies. This narrative dissects its progression, effects across diverse nations, and the subsequent recovery efforts. In 1973, the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, retaliated against Western support for Israel during the Yom Kippur War by initiating an oil embargo. The manifold increase in oil prices between 1973 and 1974 induced a seismic shift in energy costs globally. These price surges catalyzed stagflation, a simultaneous rise in inflation and stagnation in economic growth, contradicting established economic theory wherein inflation and unemployment were viewed as mutually exclusive phenomena. The 1975 recession challenged the bedrock of Keynesian economic theory, which posited an inverse relationship between inflation and unemployment. As both surged, central banks worldwide responded with heightened interest rates aiming to tame inflation, inadvertently stifling economic activity further. This intersection of stagflation posed complex questions to economists about sustainable monetary and fiscal policies. The recession laid bare structural vulnerabilities within many industrialized economies, particularly their heavy reliance on oil. This dependency magnified existing trade imbalances and highlighted declining productivity trends. For economists, understanding these structural deficiencies became essential in forecasting and preparing for future economic events. The U.S. reeled from its most severe economic contraction since the Great Depression, with GDP diminishing by approximately 3.2% in 1974 to 1975. Unemployment climbed to nearly 9% by May 1975, spotlighting systemic weaknesses in economic planning and response mechanisms. In the UK, life under heavy inflation with rates over 20% at times painted a dire economic scene. Industrial decay and soaring unemployment compelled economists to reevaluate industrial strategy and workforce adaptability in recessionary times. Japan's economy, fundamentally dependent on oil imports, faced severe growth reductions. The resulting yen depreciation added to import costs, revealing vulnerabilities in Japan's economic framework reliant on foreign energy resources. Nations like Germany and France experienced economic contractions allied with spiking unemployment rates. Energy shortages brought on governmental controls such as prohibiting Sunday driving, challenging societal norms, and government-citizen relations amidst economic crisis. For many developing countries, the recession escalated debt burdens as oil import costs soared and demand for their exports waned. This phenomenon expanded economic instability and poverty, underscoring the dire consequences of global economic policies on vulnerable economies. Industries curtailed production, leading to mass job losses, with long-term unemployment emerging as a formidable economic and social challenge. Skyrocketing prices sapped purchasing power, making everyday life difficult and contributing to an urgent need for innovative policy solutions to restore economic balance and strength. Gasoline rationing, long queues, and energy usage restrictions became widespread, necessitating shifts in public behavior and a critical examination of energy policy frameworks. The resulting economic hardships ignited waves of strikes, protests, and political instability. Governments, under duress, experimented with fiscal and monetary measures to mediate the crisis, highlighting the intricate dance between policy and economic reality. The recession unfolded from late 1973, peaking in 1975. While most developed economies started rebounding by late 1975, claiming full economic stability was a protracted affair. Some developing nations, burdened by debt and structural hindrances, struggled with recession legacies well into the 1980s. Economists noted the efficacy of stimulus measures entailing increased public spending and tax cuts aimed at reinvigorating demand. central banks began carefully unwinding previous monetary tightening as inflation abated, illustrating the balancing act inherent in economic recovery efforts. Industries pivoted towards enhancing energy efficiency to mitigate oil dependency. Japan and Germany particularly emphasized innovation, enabling faster recuperation and establishing blueprints for post-crisis economic revivals. The 1976 Jamaica Agreement, a cornerstone in international monetary architecture, allowed for flexible exchange rates, showcasing global economic interdependence and setting a precedent for international collaboration. Leading oil-importing nations pursued renewable and nuclear energy, reshaping future energy strategies and policies. This period proved pivotal in highlighting the limitations of Keynesian economics in managing stagflation. This realization gave rise to monetarist policies, prioritizing inflation control through interest rate precision. For future economic forecasting, these lessons underscore the importance of adaptive, multifaceted policy approaches. The oil crisis spurred a vital diversification of energy resources, prompting investment in strategic reserves and emphasizing the indispensable role of sustainable energy policies in national security and economic stability. The recession illuminated the intertwined fates of global economies, prompting greater advocacy for international economic cooperation. This foundation informs contemporary economic forecast models that account for cross-border interdependence and collective resilience against crises. As economists reflect on the 1975 recession's history and its repercussions, the insights gained continue to shape economic expertise and forecasting, ensuring preparedness for future global economic fluctuations. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please do subscribe, like, comment, and share.